Hey, let's go ahead and talk about converting within the metric system, okay? So the metric system is totally different than the US system. So within the US system, like if you're converting feet, miles, inches, yards, pounds and ounces, you use what's called a unit fraction. And basically the unit fraction is something that you multiply your initial measurement by that will convert it from one unit to the next. Okay. It's really great. But the cool thing about the metric system is there's a shortcut to that. Okay. You can still do this idea of unit fractions and multiply by some fraction that'll convert you from one metric measurement to the next. But I personally like to use a shortcut. Okay. So the shortcut is all based on powers of 10. So a few things about the metric system. It is based on powers of 10. And this is really nice because multiplying and dividing by powers of 10, which is in essence what you're doing when you're converting within the US system, you're multiplying and dividing by some unit fraction. You do the same thing in the metric system. You can multiply by some unit fraction, but all of those unit fractions are going to be based on powers of 10. And multiplying and dividing by powers of 10 is really easy. Turns out you can just move a decimal either to the left or to the right. Okay, so I'll show you that method in just a minute, but just for now, keep in mind that the metric system is all based on powers of 10. There are three basic units. There's the gram, which is the basic unit for mass or weight. There is the liter, which is the basic unit for volume, or you'll see it called capacity. So think like liquid for us. And then there is the meter. This is the basic unit for length. Okay. Now, in general, there are a series of prefixes. So you take these prefixes and they're the same, whether you're dealing with grams, meters, or liters. You take these prefixes, you add them to grams, meters, or liters, and it gives you some new measurement. So you could have 1 gram, or you could have 1,000 grams, which we would call a kilogram. Okay. So the prefixes are kilo, which means 1,000 basic units, hecto, which is 100 basic units, deca, which is 10 basic units. Whoops. And then here's where you would put the basic unit, all right? And then you have deci, which is 1/10 of a basic unit, centi, which is 100th of a basic unit. And then finally, you have milli, which is 1,000th of a basic unit. Sorry, I'm running out of space. Okay, so kilo, hecto, deca, and then you have whatever just a single basic unit is. So I'll put single here. And then deci, centi, milli. Okay, that is in order. That's just the bare bones basic metric system. So let me show you really quick. So the prefixes for kilo would just be a K. So you could have a kilogram, hecto is H, deca, the prefix is DA. All right, so the prefix, the abbreviated version is just DA, so a decagram. You could have 1 single gram. You could have a decigram, a centigram, or a milligram. A lot of us are familiar with milligrams. Now, the exact same thing happens with meters. You could have a kilometer, hecto, deca, a single meter, deci, centi, milli. A lot of us are familiar with millimeters, all right? So kilometer, hecto, deca, a single meter, deci, centi, milli. And then the same thing with liters, a kiloliter, hecto, deca, a single liter, deci, centi, and milli. A lot of us are familiar with milligrams, millimeters, and milliliters. We see those quite a bit, especially milligrams and milliliters. A lot of medicines are milligrams and milliliters. Okay, so that right there is the basic metric system that we're going to deal with. I would like to point out here with the volume, the liters, you do have what's called a cc, which stands for cubic centimeter. The meter, I can't spell. You can also see it like this, a cubic centimeter. All right. What I want you to know is that 1 cc is equal to 1 milliliter. You might see a conversion like this in your Ed Ready homework. So just know that 1 milliliter is equal to 1 cc. So if you have 500 cc's, that's equal to 500 milliliters. All right. So as far as converting goes, it's really quite simple. If you use this shortcut, you're just moving decimals to the left or to the right a certain number of spaces. So what I do is at the top of my screen, I will always have those prefixes listed out. It's kilo, hecto, deca. One basic unit goes here. You have to include the basic unit or everything will be wrong. And then you've got deci, centi, and milli. All right, so I could have kilogram, kiloliter, kilometer. Okay, so you put on these little blank spaces, meter, gram, or liter, depending. So let's say we have 42.5 kilometers, and we want to convert that to meters. Okay, meters would be the basic unit. So we want to go from kilometers to a single meter. So basically what you do is you figure out where you're starting. We're starting with kilometers right here. In order to get to meters, the basic unit right here, I need to move to the right, and I need to move 1, 2, 3 spaces to the right. So 3 moves to the right equals 3 decimal moves to the right. Oops. So I had 42.5 to begin with. I moved my decimal once, twice, 3 times. Any moves that go past the number, you fill in with a 0. So 42.5 kilometers is equal to 42,500 meters. All right. So again, to go from kilo to a basic unit, you would have to move 3 spaces to the right. That equals 3 decimal moves to the right, or basically multiplication of 1,000. All right. So let's say we have kilograms this time, or let's do milligrams. All right. So let's say that we have, let's do 500 milligrams, and let's convert that to decigrams. All right. So milligrams is over here on the far right. To get to decigrams, I want to move to the left 1, 2 times. So I take my number that I'm starting with, the 500 milligrams. If you do not see a decimal point, you always assume it is at the end. And we want to move it to the left 1, 2 times. So 500 milligrams is equal to 5 decigrams, which is really that movement of the decimal to the left twice is the same as dividing by 100. All right. Let's say that we have, let's go ahead and put our little key up here. Let's say I have 39.8 decaliters. Let me fix that, that looks ugly. And let's say I want to convert it to centiliters. All right. So decaliters is right here. The abbreviation for deca is DA. To get to centi, all the way over here. All right. I would have to move to the right, and I would be moving 1, 2, 3 places to the right. So I take my original measurement, 39.8. I move my decimal 1, twice, 3 times to the right. Remember, if you go past your number, any decimal moves, you add zeros. So 39.8 decaliters is equal to 39,800 centiliters. Cool. That's basically it for the metric system. It's not really hard to do. It's a little weird to kind of wrap your head around it at first. Just remember, there are 3 basic units. You've got the meter, the liter, and the gram. And then for all three of those, they have the exact same set of prefixes. Kilo means 1,000, hecto means 100, deca means 10, deci means 1/10, so 1/10 or 0.1. Centi means 1/100 or 0.01, and milli means 1/1,000 or 0.001. Okay, so you can still do the conversions using unit fractions, but for the metric system, this is really quite simple to just move your decimal to the left or to the right. Now, there are certainly special cases that can come up that kind of go beyond what I showed you here, but for what you're going to have to do in EdReady right now, that's really it. This is the metric system that you need to know. Okay, let me know if you have any other questions. And if so, I can make another video. Good luck.